Alrighty guys, welcome. If you're watching this, you are a part of my 4-week long Intro to Guitar Masterclass. Thank you guys for being here. I wasn't planning on doing this video, but I ended up snapping a string the other day, so I figured I might as well. Today I'm going to show you how to properly change your own guitar strings, so that way you don't have to take it to a shop every time that you want to get that done. It's important to change the strings maybe once every 2 months, depending on how much you're playing, because the grease from your fingers ends up on the strings. The strings get old, a little bit loose in their twine, and can start to sound a little bit funny. So getting your strings changed as often as you feel is a good idea. Things that we are going to need are obviously a new pack of strings here, and then as well a string twiner. You don't actually need one of these, you can do it without. But it is handy to have because it makes the process a lot quicker. This one actually has some wire cutters in it to cut the strings. So if you don't have some wire cutters, getting one of these is a good idea, but not completely necessary. The first thing that we always want to do when we're changing the strings is get the old ones off. So what we're going to do is just loosen all of these first and foremost. So you go one by one, loosening the strings. Making sure that there's no more tension and that they're kind of loose. Because you don't want, when you clip them right now, to snap back and hit you in the face, anything like that. So what I usually do after I have them loosened is I'll go through and I'll cut them in the middle here. It makes it easier to get them off. So I'll cut each one of these. Now that you have them cut, you can go ahead and take out the tuning pegs. Sometimes they do get a little bit stuck. So on the end of these string twiners, they have this little ridge that you can pry them out. Usually if your strings aren't too tight, they should be fine. So what I do is I'll take the string and I'll push down on it so there's no longer has tension on the peg. I'll just pull the peg up with my finger. I'll set this string aside and I'll make sure that I put these somewhere safe so I don't. Alrighty, once we have all of the strings off of the bridge and of the tuning pegs up here, we can go ahead and get a microfiber cloth, get it a little bit damp. You don't want it too wet. You don't want to get the neck too wet, but we can go through and just clean off the fretboard, getting the grime and the grease from our fingers off of there so we can keep the fretboard smooth. When it comes to the strings that you want to use, there's plenty of different options. I usually go with these Diodario coateds. The coated strings have a layer on there that helps keep the grease and the grime from your fingers off the strings, helps them last a little bit longer. So those are what I prefer, but any light or medium gauge strings is good. As well, inside of the booklet, they always have a little guide for which string goes where. But it's pretty simple. They usually organize them inside the pack from the thickest to the thinnest string. It also has it on the back of the. Next thing that we are going to do here is we're going to go ahead and lace all of the strings through our bridge here with the pins. Pretty simple process. The strings are always going to be color coded, like I said, and they're going to be a little guide on the booklet so you know which string goes where. The way that we're going to thread these in is you're going to take the end here with the little stopper. You're going to lace it through the hole. You want to put it down a little bit. You're going to take your peg, make sure that this little open slot is facing towards the string. That's what's going to keep the string in place. You're going to put the peg down and pull up on the string at the same time. What we don't want to happen is to have the stopper of the string stuck on the bottom of the peg, because as you tighten the string, eventually that tension will either break the peg or the string will pop up and the stopper will hit the back of the bridge. So just kind of pull up on it, make sure that's secure. And then we're going to do that for each one of these strings. So again, we're going to lace this down in here, make sure the opening is towards the string, put that in, pull up a little bit, make sure that that's tight in there. Okay, so now that we have everything strung through the bridge, we're going to start stringing it through the peg holes here. So you're going to take the string that aligns with the proper peg hole, and you're going to run that through. And you want to leave a good amount of slack in the string. You don't want the string to be tight yet, because we are going to wind this around several times in order to make the string stay in tune. You want to have a couple of winds around this so that way the string doesn't slip. Now the way that we're going to do this is probably the most tricky part, but still not very hard. We're going to take our string winder, if we have one. If you don't, you could just use your hands. So you have a good amount of slack on the string on the fretboard there. We're going to start turning it counterclockwise here to tighten the string. But it's very important that we make sure that the first round, this string goes underneath this string. So I'm going to kind of pull back a little bit as I'm tightening. I'm going to pull this string up. And I'm going to make sure that this string goes underneath the first time as I'm tightening. Once it goes around once, I'm going to press this string all the way down. I'm going to make sure that every other round, every other revelation, the string goes on top. This is kind of how we lock the string in place, doing one under and the rest of them over, so that way the string does not slip when we're playing and it stays in tune. So you're going to continue to twine. The string might slip a little bit while you're doing this, and that's okay, because we'll address that in a little bit. And you just want to get this to a place where it's generally taut. You don't want to put a ton of pressure on the string yet. So once we get to about right there, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut off some of this string just to make it easier to string the rest of them. And I'm just going to repeat this process again and again. So we're going to, once we have everything strung through the top here, we're secure on the bottom. You want to get all of the strings till a little bit of tension. They don't need to be in tune yet, because what we're going to do is we're going to come up here on the 12th fret and we're going to do a bend with each string. And what this is going to do is allow any slippage from the top of the guitar in these tuning pegs to kind of pull where it needs to pull and get the strings more secure before we tune up. So you can start on the 12th fret here and just bend towards the top of the guitar. And you'll go through each string, just kind of pulling on them. Alrighty, so once we have all the excess strings clipped off the top here and we're all tuned up, you're ready to play. Again, the tuning is going to be E, A, D, G, B, and then the high E string. Again, you could do that on the Fender app tuner. You can buy a tuner from a shop. Either one works. The first couple sessions that you play a guitar after new strings, they are going to come untuned because they are still learning how to flex with the neck of the guitar. There still is a little bit of slippage from the tuning pegs up top. So just retune mid-session, it's all good. And you're ready to go.